At this point, you may be well on your way to a fast and complete recovery, and I certainly hope you are. But let's look at how to hang tough with your insurance company, manage knucklehead contractors, and find the little-known wrinkles in the tax code that will let you hit up Uncle Sam for some extra cash. Hang tough with your insurer. You may have the proper insurance coverage, have raised your policy limits each year, called in a timely manner to report your claim, and still your insurance company may be putting up resistance.
What happens in these situations, and I think some of your viewers might want to know, that they send in what are called storm troopers, and they are a lot of times adjusters from out of state that work on mass catastrophes, and a lot of times these storm troopers don't really understand the particular policy on the state they're in.
Todd advises you to hang tough.
You do have a short fuse, you want to get angry, but it's maybe best to stay as calm as you can but keep on them and keep hounding them. And they're going to hate you for it, but that's how you keep them moving in your direction.
Calmly explain your understanding of the policy and force your insurer to show you the language that proves otherwise. When the company does finally make you an offer, try to verify that it will be enough to cover the cost of repairs. Before accepting it, get a contractor's estimate or your own claims expert, known as a public adjuster, to evaluate and potentially counter the insurance company's offer. Your state insurance commissioner's office or accountant can give you a referral. Public adjusters usually charge a flat fee of $300. Watch your contractor like a hawk. The insurance company may be frustrating, but you'll really start to pull your hair out over what your contractors are up to.
And then you can see here we've had to have the whole house rewired. So it's very, very difficult to get people to come here and work because there's just not enough people to go around. So it's been months and months and months to get people to come and do the electrical wiring work. So this is our bathroom, and we were able to get electricity here in January, and then the end of April of this year, we were able to get the gas turned on. So now we took our first hot bath here in May of this year. So we were really excited about that. So we no longer had to travel to different friends' homes to take a bath.
You need to ask a contractor for references and check with your state licensing board to make sure he's in good standing. Often after a major disaster, contractors will flood into the area from out of state, and that's okay. Just call the references and licensing boards in the states they usually do business in. Insist on getting multiple bids, even if they insist on being paid for their estimates. Then just have whoever gets the job deduct that $300 or $400 off his final bill. Don't work without a contract, and make sure whoever you hire fills out the draw schedule. Anyone who insists on 90% up front or asks you to pay him money for materials isn't someone you want to be dealing with. Finally, insist the contractor, not you, be the one responsible for chasing down permits and inspectors.
Well, you have to wait for an electrical inspector to come in, and until you can get it inspected, you can't close the walls. So that took a long time to get that step.
If he asks you to take responsibility for permits, that's a bad sign. He may have run afoul of the official channels and is getting afraid of being caught. Get Uncle Sam to pitch in. Tripmeister was, and as he put it, SOL when it came to insurance for the mudslide damage on his home. Few would have blamed him for just folding up his tent, declaring bankruptcy, and living out his days in a trailer park.
We kind of liken it to being in purgatory because we don't have I mean, this is our home, but we can't live here. The city, again, the city's been fantastic for us. The community stood behind us, and they were able to get some mobile homes that had been decommissioned from another site and move it to someone donated the property to use for the next year or two. And we're living in a mobile home this is a small house, and the mobile home's about half the size of this.
So you basically paid to be one of the most expensive communities in the United States, if not the world, and you end up living in a mobile home.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and we feel lucky.
You're lucky. How much did this cost you out of pocket to fix?
You know, we don't have the final numbers yet. We initially estimated about $250,000. But we think we might be able to do it for as much as $150 because myself and my father-in-law are doing 100% of the work ourselves to repair.
So where do you get $150,000 from?
In this case, Small Business Administration.
Got a loan.
It is the SBA loans, the same loans that the people in Louisiana and Florida get in disasters.
But, as Mike Uja warns, they don't make it easy.
If you qualify for everything, they'll max you out at $200,000 for your house and $40,000 for content, the way it reads. And right now, we've got the max, but we don't have the max. And it's been just jumping through hoops, trying to get it, jumping through hoops, trying to figure out what we need to do to get this.
Your mortgage company may insist you pay off your mortgage, which takes you out of the running for an SBA loan. The SBA requires a letter from your mortgage company demanding you pay off your mortgage, which you can't because you already paid it off.
I said, you know, it's my insurance, my money. I said, tell you what, I'll send it to you, you endorse it, and then send it back to me, and then I'll endorse it and do what I want with the funds. And they said, no, we can't do that. So, well, fine. I said, then you need to give me a demand letter saying that you want me to pay off the loan.
Mike and Tripp have kept badgering their mortgage company and the SBA with phone calls. In the end, it'll be worth following in their footsteps. You could wind up with a $150,000 to $250,000 loan at a 30-year fixed rate of just 2.5%, which can go an awfully long way towards giving you a fresh start. Hit up the IRS. The IRS has specific provisions designed to help residents of official presidentially declared disaster zones. New Orleans accountant Ken Abney explains.
Well, the IRS has something called a casualty loss, and a casualty loss is basically a sudden unexpected event like a hurricane where your property is destroyed. And the IRS allows you to take a deduction for the loss on your tax return. And generally the loss is calculated by the difference between the fair market value of your property before the casualty and the fair market value after your casualty, reduced by insurance proceeds. And it sounds a little complicated, it can be, but so I'll try to give you an example. And if you assume somebody's house was worth $400,000 before the storm, and then it was completely destroyed or flooded, and you get a sort of appraisal, because the IRS does require to have an appraisal, and the appraiser comes back and says it's worth $200,000 after the storm, if you're fortunate enough for that. And you've only received, let's say, $100,000 of insurance. Well, you take the $400,000, less the $200,000, gives you a $200,000 loss, less the insurance proceeds of $100,000, you'd have a $100,000 casualty loss. So if you had that $100,000 loss, casualty loss, you can claim it in a disaster area on your current tax return. So here in Louisiana, people could claim it on their 05 return or elect to carry it in their 04 return. Why you would do that would depend, was your income higher in 04 than in 05? And a lot of people it was because they didn't work from August to the end of the year, unfortunately. They took an economic hit. So if you could claim it in 04, get the tax dollars back, and get a refund, so that refund would help you hopefully to start recovering. The IRS would give you those monies back.
Disasters leave a miserable, lingering hangover. There's no getting around that. But with help from the right channels, proper planning, smart decision-making, patience, and a lot of grit, plus some luck, I can assure you you'll get through this and be stronger for it. The Year Survival Program has been honored to tell the stories of the remarkable resilience of the Meisters, Heberts, Ujas, Jordans, Galadoros, Friedmans, Bryants, and Goolsbys. So, Tripp, you have been out of this house for a year. It's cost you probably $150,000 or so. You're living in a trailer home. When do you hope to be back?
Well, I hope to be back tomorrow. The reality is, within the next 6 months, we believe. We're getting close. My father-in-law are doing all the work, and we're busting our butt to do it as quickly as possible because it's all about getting home.
I remember the night after the tornado, we're at my in-laws' house and we're in this little bitty bed. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. My wife, we can't sleep. She's crying. My daughter's asleep, but she's tossing and turning. And I remember just, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And you have to build on that because you know, I was a younger man and I'm only 45 now. I wasn't going to let it beat us. I think she took that attitude, and you just get up the next morning and to be candid, you find some underwear and you find some shorts and you put them on and you go down the road again.
You come over and you dig through everything and you hope you find what you can find, and that's just the way you deal with it. I mean, you just hunker down and you deal with what you have in front of you.